Lakers now 9.
Just sat down on live television and said something that the entire NBA world has been waiting to hear from someone in his position. What he admitted about LeBron and the Lakers was not what anyone expected from him, and it changes the whole conversation. Now that even Chris Broussard is admitting LeBron will never sacrifice his game for the Lakers, do you think it's finally time for the Lakers organization to make a move and build fully around Luka and Reaves? Drop your honest take in the Broussard is not a LeBron critic. He is not someone who has spent his career poking holes in the LeBron legacy or questioning his motives or suggesting that his individual priorities are hurting his teams. Broussard is the opposite of that. He has been openly affiliated with Clutch Sports, LeBron's agency, and has said so publicly himself. When Chris Broussard talks about LeBron James, the default setting is favorable. The benefit of the doubt goes to LeBron. The framing leans toward defending him. That is just the reality of where Broussard sits in this conversation, and everyone watching knows it.
You know it's bad when you got LeBron guys finally coming out here and saying the bloody truth, right? So, as you guys know, a good amount of people have accused LeBron of using these last 5-6 years to just kind of enhance his own legacy. Chase Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scoring record, hold on to 10-point scoring streaks, stat pad and all of that. People have said that, once LeBron realizes a team won't be any good in any given season, he just focuses on his stats.
So when Chris Broussard gets on First Things First and says, clearly, directly, without much hedging, that LeBron James will never sacrifice his game for the betterment of the Lakers, that is not a regular Tuesday opinion. That is a significant public admission from someone who has spent years protecting that exact narrative. And the fact that it came out the way it did, casually and matter-of-factly, like everyone in the room already knew it was true, makes it even more striking. Let's walk through exactly what he said and why every part of it is showing. The Lakers are 9-2 in games where Luka Dončić and Austin Reaves both play without LeBron. When all three are on the floor together, the team is 11-7. Those numbers have been sitting on the screen for weeks now, and the sports media establishment has been doing everything possible to contextualize them, minimize them, and explain them away without saying the obvious thing. Broussard acknowledged them directly. He said the numbers clearly show the Lakers are much better without LeBron. That's a direct quote from a LeBron guy on a national television platform. But then he went further. And this is the part that people need to actually sit with, because it is the most honest and specific explanation of the LeBron Lakers problem that any mainstream media figure has offered all season. Broussard said what the Lakers actually need LeBron to be is Chris Bosh or Kevin Love. Not the LeBron James who averaged 30 points and led his team in shot attempts every night. Not the LeBron who has the ball in his hands on every significant possession and whose statistics are the organizing principle of the offense. They need him to be a complementary player. A role player who sets screens, gets to specific spots, finishes when the ball finds him, and stays out of the way of the primary offensive engine. And he used the historical pattern to make the point. When LeBron was in Miami, he was the primary ball-dominant scoring threat, and Dwayne Wade was the secondary one. That arrangement meant Chris Bosh, who had been a 20-plus point scorer in Toronto, had to become a role player. He gave up his scoring volume, changed how he played, and sacrificed his individual numbers for the team to function. And it worked. The Heat won 2 championships because Bosh was willing to make that sacrifice. In Cleveland, Kevin Love did the same thing. All-star production reduced to role player contributions because LeBron and Kyrie were the primary weapons, and the math of basketball only allows so many high-usage players in the same lineup. The point Broussard is making, and it's a sharp one, is that with Luka Dončić now in the picture, the dynamic requires LeBron to be the one making that sacrifice. Luka is the ball-dominant, high-usage primary scoring threat. Austin Reaves is the secondary scoring option. For the system to work the way the Heat and Cavaliers worked, LeBron needs to step into the Bosh and Love role. Support player, screener, finisher. Reduced volume, reduced usage, reduced touches. The guy who makes everyone around him better without needing to be the focal point of the offense. Then Broussard said the thing plainly. LeBron is never going to do that. Not because he can't intellectually understand what the team needs. Broussard explicitly said LeBron is smart enough to know what he could do for the team. He gets it. He sees what the data shows. He understands the basketball. But 22 years of being a superstar means you cannot just decide to stop being one because the team math requires it. It is not purely an ego issue, although ego is part of it. It is about identity. It is about how deeply the superstar role is embedded in everything LeBron has done since he was 18 years old. You cannot rewire 22 years of being the guy in a single season just because the roster construction would benefit from it.
Broussard compared it to Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson, two players who also could never have accepted reduced roles once they became superstars. The superstar identity is not something you turn off like a switch. It is who you are. It shapes your decisions, your positioning on the court, your shot selection, your relationship with your teammates, your entire presence in the building. And for someone like LeBron, whose entire career legacy is built on the accumulation of statistics and individual milestones, the idea of voluntarily reducing his numbers is essentially the idea of voluntarily shrinking the legacy he has been building for 2 decades. That last point is the one that really explains everything about the current Lakers situation. LeBron has been very public about how much his numbers matter to him. This is not a secret. This is not something critics invented to attack him. He wore a shirt that said, "Check my stats." He has leaned into the scoring records, the assists records, the all-time lists as central pillars of how he wants his career to be remembered and discussed. Those records require him to keep playing significant minutes, keep taking significant shot volumes, keep accumulating the statistics that feed the comparison conversations he has been stoking throughout his career. A reduced role means reduced numbers. Reduced numbers means slower progress toward the statistical milestones he is chasing. And from LeBron's perspective, if the team is not going to win a championship anyway, which Broussard also acknowledged is likely true, saying with or without LeBron, he does not think the Lakers can make real noise in the Western Conference, then the calculus for him becomes purely about his individual legacy. Protect the stats, keep the averages up, give his fans something to point to when the season ends without a championship run. The other thing Broussard identified that goes beyond just LeBron's individual choices is the psychological effect his presence has on the rest of the roster. Even when LeBron is telling his teammates to do their thing, to be themselves, to play freely, they cannot fully do that when he is on the court. They defer to him instinctively. Not because they are weak or lack confidence, but because LeBron James's presence in a basketball environment carries so much historical and competitive weight that the people around him naturally look to him for cues. Austin Reaves naturally defers to LeBron. The role players adjust their positioning and decision-making based on what LeBron is doing rather than what the system calls for. It is not conscious, it is gravitational. And when LeBron is not there, as the 9-2 record makes clear, that gravitational pull disappears. The team finds its natural hierarchy. Luka is the primary weapon. Reaves is the secondary option. Marcus Smart sets the defensive tone, and every player in the lineup knows their specific role without having to mentally navigate around LeBron's needs and preferences. The whole team plays more freely, more confidently, and more effectively. The Marcus Smart point actually illustrates the whole thing perfectly. Against the Knicks, in one of those games without LeBron, Smart shot 1 for 10 from the field. A terrible offensive night by any measure. And he finished as a team-high plus 23 because he was locked in defensively, communicating on every possession, drawing charges, and making the whole team better through effort and engagement rather than scoring. That is what team basketball looks like when everyone knows their role and executes it fully. It is almost impossible to get to that place when one player in the lineup is operating on a different set of priorities. Now, the broader question is what any of this means for the Lakers going forward. Broussard himself acknowledged that the issue is somewhat moot in the sense that he does not think the Lakers are a real Western Conference contender regardless of whether LeBron plays or not. The competition out west, Oklahoma City, Denver, San Antonio with Victor Wembanyama running one of the most dominant stretches of basketball anyone has seen in years, is at a level that the current Lakers roster is probably not equipped to challenge in a playoff series even on their best days.
But the 9-2 record matters for a different reason. It is not just about this season's playoff chances. It is a preview of what the Lakers franchise could look like when they build around Luka Dončić and Austin Reaves without needing to accommodate LeBron's role and his statistical ambitions. The identity is there. The defensive capability is there when the right players are on the floor. The offensive efficiency is there when the ball movement is clean and everyone knows their job. The foundation for something real exists. The only thing in the way of building on that foundation is the specific set of complications that come with having LeBron in the lineup at this stage of his career. Rob Pelinka is reportedly using these stretches without LeBron to evaluate exactly what the team looks like and what it needs going forward. If that evaluation is honest, and the Broussard segment suggests that even the media figures closest to LeBron are starting to be honest about it, the conclusion is becoming increasingly clear. The Lakers' future runs through Luka Dončić and Austin Reaves. It does not run through LeBron James. Chris Broussard said it on live television, a LeBron guy. In plain language, LeBron will never sacrifice his game for the team. The numbers back it up, the eye test backs it up, and the 9-2 record without him is not going away. Chris Broussard, a known LeBron supporter, sat on live television and admitted LeBron will never sacrifice his game for the Lakers. Not because he can't see it, because he never will. The 9-2 record is right there. If this conversation has you thinking, hit like and subscribe, because the Lakers situation is only getting more interesting from here.